Talk about now. I'm asking you right now. Who's
Right
the
now, I have
freakiest
to go with Nick Walker. This guy's super big too, though. But I take Nick Walker.
My dense is ripped and shredded.
He's got crazy legs though too.
You see those legs? You think that's?
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
I haven't seen the sun in a fucking week and a half. Look! It just came out! Look at that!
I love it.
And we're live for another episode of After Hours with the Whack Pack. And speaking of the Whack Pack, I got them on hold here. We got John Romano and the crew. What's up, guys?
What's up?
We were just arguing with John before the start of the show. They were saying that you should dye. One person said you should dye your beard. One said you shouldn't. My sister said you should shave it. What's the verdict?
I'm going to probably leave it alone.
That's all.
I bet you'll shave it when it gets warmer.
It looks good, but it makes you look older. I bet you if you either dyed it or you shaved it, you'd probably look like you were in your 40s. You know.
The problem,
a
problem is that I'm so lean right now that these lines in my face are like really deep.
That's cool though. I think that looks cool.
Dave has it deep as shit.
Yeah, I like it. Last topic of the day. I wanted to ask you guys. We can go around the horn. Because I got this question and I was thinking about it. I was trying to come up with an answer. So maybe you guys can give me your opinion, then I'll give you my answer. Who in today's bodybuilding world, of people who are actually actively competing, would you consider like the biggest freak out there right now? Like the biggest, like holy mackerel,
Nick Walker. Nick Walker.
What you want to go first, Don?
Yeah, Nick Walker.
Okay. What about you, Larry?
I would agree with Nick Walker, but I think Hottie comes pretty close.
Okay.
I mean, just Nick Walker's overall size is freaky. His arms are so big, but overall, I mean, Hottie's got everything from top to bottom, back and front, and shredded.
Right, but if you walked into a gym and saw Hottie Chupa, would you be, freaked out?
Well, I just interviewed Derek Lunsford in person, and honestly, in clothes, he didn't look very big.
I don't think that Derek Lunsford is the most freaky looking guy. I think he's a great bodybuilder.
Just saying, he's covered up in clothes.
I'm talking about freaks. Who's the biggest freak on the circuit right now?
Well, even Nick Walker, honestly, in person, he didn't look that big to me when he's in competition.
Who do you think then?
It has to be someone like, I would guess. What's his name? Shoot, I just drew a blank.
Maxilla?
The big black guy that's third in the Olympia.
Samson. Yeah.
Samson Doodle.
Just because he's so tall and wide,
yeah,
just he takes up more space.
Yeah.
You know, in person, he's going to look freakier because he's just huge.
All right. I
have to agree with that. It's Samson, because of his stature, is the potential to be the biggest person out there right now. Though, if I saw them without their shirts on, I would say Nick Walker has the most dense muscle on his body right now, more than any other bodybuilder. But wow factor would probably be Samson because of his height and bone structure.
Armand?
I grew up watching Ronnie Coleman train as soon as I started working out in the gym. So it's hard to look at today. But today, I would say Nexzilla. I saw a picture of him the other day by Chris Cormier. I know Chris Cormier is retired and all that, but just to get an idea of how massive this guy is, when he gets in shape, it's going to be freaky. I think like another kind of Ronnie Coleman type physique. But really, I'm not really impressed with. I've seen all these guys in person. I'm not really that impressive.
Yeah.
compared to what I've seen, what I grew up with. I would say Nexzilla.
Greg?
I would have to say Nick Walker, but no comparison to the greatest freak ever was Victor Richards. There's no comparison. I don't give a shit. You're talking in 1981, Victor Richards' shoulders were 6 feet wide. His legs, if you cut him sideways like this, are round as a 45-pound plate. I mean, he had that kind of muscle back then. We had like 23-inch arms just walking around. And I mean, I still think that, I mean, I see Nick Walker and I see that Nexzilla dude. He's pretty badass too, though. So I kind of agree with Armand. Nick Walker's amazing, but there's nobody like Victor Richards ever. I mean, none of these guys, like you see this guy right here, right? That's Nexzilla, right?
Yeah.
That's nothing compared. If I took you, Dave, you've seen, look at that. If you've seen.
Well, we're not talking about in the past. I'm talking about now. I'm asking you right now.
Right now I have to go with Nick Walker. This guy's super big too, though. But I take Nick Walker.
Vince is ripped and shredded.
He's got crazy legs, though, too.
You see those legs? You think that's.
Richards used to bug me for fucking new veins so much.
And now he's going to sue you. Now he's going to sue you. I mean,
it's true. He can't. Other people know it. He can sue me.
Who?
I don't have anything.
Victor Richards.
Listen, Victor Richards was twice that guy. So I'm sorry. In
Vic Richards saw Big Rod. He was like, Big Rod was bigger than Vic.
Listen, if you
What
would
about you, George?
that juice today to Victor Richards, forget about it.
I'm going to go with the American, Nick Walker.
That a boy, George.
Well, what do you want me to tell you? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
going to root for I'm not that I don't like the other guys, but I'm going to root for
Derek's American
the
too.
guy in my country.
I got to give you my pick. My pick is Jay Cutler.
Hey, Trace.
Come back, Jay. Right on.
I'm just breaking Greg's balls, but
Lee broke with Lee, right? Lee broke Dave's balls so bad at the end of the show. Dave goes, "I'm cutting my throat. I swear to God, I'm cutting my throat like this."
you know how many people ask? Greg, you know how many people asked me if that was real?
What?
Like really close friends. They're like, "Is that real?" I said,
"We're breaking
"Nothing's
balls.
real." What?
We're all friends. We're just breaking
balls.
balls."
People, because we play it up. We don't crack a smile. We play it like so close to the.
We're fooling around. We're fooling
People
around.
think that we're serious. You know, they really think we're serious.
No, Lee loves you. We all love each other. It's so bullshit.
Yeah, but Jay says Lee was the biggest freak ever back in the day.
I love Lee.
He was a big freak, yeah. But I think, you know, if you want to be considered, at least in my estimation, like one of the biggest freaks, you got to have some. And this is no offense to Lee. Lee was freaky because he was, you know, he had those crazy arms and everything like that, the quads. But you know, the height is more impressive. Like, you know, Kovacs didn't have a great physique for bodybuilding in terms of.
He was a monster,
shows, but he was a freak. You know, I mean, Ronnie Coleman was probably the biggest freak of all time. I mean, I don't think there's anyone.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Not only did he have the muscle, but he had the shape to go with it. I mean,
Dave, who's that guy you interviewed? You interviewed some European guy. He couldn't understand you. He'd be like, "What?" Like when it was a white dude, bro. You interviewed him at the last show that you did. He was tall. He had these big arms, bro. He was a monster.
Which guy?
Dude, you remember?
Michael Crizzo. Yeah, Michael Crizzo.
Yeah, that guy. Or whatever. You were interviewing him. And you didn't.
Yeah, I was going to say when I gave an answer, I was going to say I think it's between Crizzo and Rubio Mascara, which is Nexzilla. I think those two guys.
Who was that Iranian dude that couldn't get the visa? That was freaking gigantic.
Right?
Beirut.
Yeah.
Beirut. Yeah, Beirut. Yeah. Tabani.
Yeah, he's shredded. He just shredded everywhere.
That's Crizzo, yeah. But
he's a big dude though. When he stood next to Dave looked like a dot. You know?
Yeah, he's a freak.
It's weird that he has no glutes at all, like zero glutes.
Yeah, he has striated glutes. They're just not big. You know what you guys got to see? If you haven't seen on Netflix, they have a documentary now on Andre the Giant.
Oh,
very well done. They got everyone in it. Vince McMahon's in it. They got Hulk Hogan in it. It's a great documentary they did. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Lee, did you see that? Lee, did you see the Andre the Giant documentary?
That's my mother-in-law, Andre the Giant. She's 11, 350 pounds.
Dave, there was a story about Andre.
4'8", right?
They picked him. One of the guys picked him up from the airport.
Hold on. Wait a second. What were you saying to me?
He drank 48 cans of beer on a ride to the hotel. Okay, and
Yeah.
he had to pick him up in a cargo van. He had to sit in a
Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
You know Rob Reiner, the actor and
Reiner,
director.
yeah.
Rob Reiner did the movie The Princess Bride, and The Princess Bride, they said there was a giant in there, and the guy who wrote the book actually wrote it with Andre in mind. So they got Andre to play the giant in the movie. Everyone loved him, and they said Rob Reiner said he would routinely, before they started shooting, he would drink 6 bottles of wine, and he would drink, like 24 cans of beer over the course of the day.
No problem. Yeah.
And he wasn't even drunk. And Rob Reiner said, "Are you drunk?" He goes, "Only a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he weighed like 550 pounds,
Dave, do you have the picture of Andre holding the can of beer? That the can of beer it's this big. It's this big and it's small.
I don't know if you know, but the what's her name? Who was married to Sean Penn? That what's her name?
Madonna?
No, after her. Robin Wright. Robin Wright. Remember the actress? Robin Wright Penn. She was married to Sean. She was in the movie. She was a young girl in Princess Bride, and she said that it was freezing outside. They were filming, and she was so cold. And Andre came over and put his hand on her head. He said, and his hand was so big that it covered her entire head and it kept it warm. That's.
Do you know what the hand like that? Mark Henry. Holy shit.
Oh, really?
Oh my God! I went to a strip club. Dude, that freaking kid's hand is this big. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Mark Henry's huge too, but he's not a giant like Andre was.
No, but he got some hands on him.
Everyone in the WWE was afraid of Andre the Giant. I don't know if you knew.
Hogan said twice the size of Hulk Hogan.
Hogan said that there was not a single guy. He said, as a matter of fact, if you took the 3 toughest guys in the WWE, they couldn't take Andre. That's how strong he was. So everyone was petrified of him. So when finally Vince talked, Andre was ready to retire and go off into the sunset. And Vince talked him to come back to WrestleMania 3, where he's going to wrestle Hulk Hogan for the title. Right. Andre the Giant had never lost a match ever.
Right.
And they were billing this thing as like Hogan was going to take over the reins and he was going to be the new guy. But no one was sure. No one was sure if Andre was going to let Hogan beat him. So even up until the day of the match, Hogan was like going, "Hey, big guy, what are we going to do?" He goes, "Don't worry, I tell you during the match." So Hogan, I didn't know if I was supposed to win or not, and Vince didn't tell me. And during the match, Andre said, do this, do that, do this, and then he knew that Andre was going to let him.
Hogan actually body slammed him in that.
Yeah, well, they choreographed it, but he said.
He had to jump, I think.
Andre wouldn't tell him until they were in the ring, and then he's like, "Lift me up, do the leg drop, And Hogan said, when I leg dropped him at the end and then pinned him, I thought he was going to push his way out, but he didn't, and then he let Hogan beat him. But
Mark Henry was at my chiropractor's office 2 months ago, and he was sitting across from me. I was like, "Man, this guy looks so familiar." He's in his 50s now, and I'm like, and then when I saw my chiropractor, he adjusts a lot of rappers when they come to town, like celebrity people. Right. And he's like, "Yeah, it's Mark Henry." I was like, "Oh wow, he's a little out of shape now, but he's still massive." But
massive. You think he's natural, John?
Who?
Mark Henry.
It says he is.
Absolutely, he was.
I think so.
Yeah, he always said he was. He competed in the Olympics.
Yeah, he's a different kind of person.
He's a freak.
You don't look like he's.
It's really funny when you come up with that question regarding certain people. It's
because I want to know what people think.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
It's like in basketball.
Oh, Keith.
You got Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, whomever you think is like the absolute best. No one ever accuses them of taking anything. Okay. Right. But you get in our world, no matter who you are, if you're a little bit bigger than everybody else, it's drugs. It's all drugs. It's drugs.
People take drugs in our industry. That's why.
To the point that the outlier is eliminated. There's no outlier. No. We have no outliers. Michael Hearn is not an outlier.
Yeah, but Mark
Hearn is not an outlier. I have to be doing drugs. And
I believe Michael Hearn's natural. I do. And Lee Priest sunk it home for me because
no one's asking you. Let John finish.
Lee told me he's natural.
The thing is, the outliers are in all sports, including ours. So when you got guys like Mark Henry, Michael Hearn, whomever else, who insist they don't take drugs, Lee Priest said he barely took any. Paul Dillette hardly did any. In the process, no one believes them. No one believes them because they can't imagine we have outliers. Impossible. But hockey has outliers, baseball has outliers, basketball has outliers, wrestlers have outliers, football players have outliers, not bodybuilding. No, can't have an outlier in bodybuilding. Doesn't happen.
Right.
We have outliers, if you know what I mean.
Hey, Greg, do you think Hank Aaron ever took anabolics?
No. First of all, Hank Aaron had almost 5,000 more bats than Babe Ruth did. So God bless him for hitting that home run.
Yeah.
And I thought Willie Mays would have broke it before Hank Aaron, but Willie Mays started going down faster.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Hank Aaron fan. I think there were a lot of guys better than him, but But I got to tell you something. Lee Priest gave a good argument the other day. He was saying, I've known Mike O'Hearn 20 years. He goes, he remembers more than 20 years, but he said 20 years ago he still looked the same as he does now, which is, muscle matures. So he's and he's not jacked. I don't know why these guys all think he's not like this huge monster guy. He's a big, tall guy. So his muscles, he's big, but he's not like super jacked. And with shirts on, he looks like a real muscular guy, but he doesn't look like a monster. So, I always thought, I'm good friends with Mona. Okay. I know Mona before Mike O'Hearn knew her. Mona Morrison. Okay. She's a great girl. And, they all say he's natural. Bob Bonham told me, oh no, he's natural. I swear to God, he knew him really well. I know guys, they cringe, but you know what the biggest thing is? What do you give a shit what anybody else does? Who cares?
Because Greg, you know why? Because people have to justify why someone looks so good.
That's what John Romano was
about themselves to think that.
Yeah, but who cares? You know what I'm saying?
They don't care because they're jealous. They're jealous of Mike O'Hearn. Good-looking guy. He's got a great physique. So they got to attribute it to something.
Michael O'Hearn has been working out for 40 plus 50 years.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever missed a workout. I don't think he's ever missed a meal. He's the anomaly. I don't think people don't, guys take steroids and we go off and then we won't train or we'll be lazy, whatever. It's not the same. This man, his workmanship, just the way that he did everything, it was just so to a T his whole life. I don't know. I think he looks better now than he ever has. I'm really surprised how strong he is now at his age.
Muscle maturity, too. Dude, I got a striated ass. I haven't done squats in 30-something years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we know what you do with your ass. That's the problem, Greg.